The structure of Nightmare Alley is rough and roughly divided into two parts equally, and the structure itself also shifts the story to two different stages. First half circuits in the metropolis of the second half. It can be said that they pave the way for each other. If we move the second part after the second 2 years to the front, become the freak Stan. In the eyes of a young man, his fate is as unique as the freak in the first part. Therefore, the weight balance and volume of the two parts before and after are similar, 1 hour in the first half and 1.5 hours in the second half. It's like a mirror image of two lives. It seems that many circus scenes are very loosely related to the back, which seems a bit lengthy. But personally I find this sorting out interesting. If you look at this work in a different way, the circus part can be completely independent, with a beginning and an end. Stan learns a skill, and then uses his wit to solve the big trouble for the circus, and win everyone's respect. So he drove the van, hugged the beauty, sang songs, and ran towards the big city with ambition and passion. If Stan's story ends here, it's a happy ending for everyone. The blindfold performance was originally for the effect of the show, and at the same time implied that Stein could not see fate at all. The second part opens up a dark life that seems to be another mirror image of him. The result of this arrangement strengthens the tension, and makes Stan's madness even more lamentable. In the design of the characters, the perspective and heart of the protagonist Stan are the main axis, and most of the other characters are arranged as factors influencing Stan and weakening the motivations behind it. More often these characters are more like the so-called anthropomorphic fate itself. Do you know why fate is playing tricks on you? No one knows. The people in the film affect Stan like fate. As long as man has desires, fate does not require motives, so man is small. But was Stan really arranged by fate? Or is Stan already a white-eyed wolf? He had just cut off the past, he had the opportunity to start over, and there was indeed a little kindness in his heart, which could be felt from his attitude towards the strange man, but this good thought was actually very wavering, and it could also be felt from his behavior of beating the strange man when he was in danger. Considering the way he treats his father, Stan is actually cruel and selfish in his heart. Importantly, he's smart. Ironically, it may be precisely because he finds himself very intelligent that he begins to feel a kind of unwillingness and arrogance in his heart. Of all these factors of his contact, everything comes with pros and cons, bad and worse, because their livelihood is inherently deceptive, but he chooses to use it for the worse. Like all apprentices, ignore the warning, ignore the sharpness of the double-edged sword, ignore the regurgitation. The symbolism of the three elders. Magician Pete. It is a symbol of enlightenment, and it is he who lights a lamp for Stan, so that he suddenly understands that wisdom can be used for deception. But he prevents Stan from getting his wisdom, and he knows that this way of using wisdom will not end up with good results. Concerning Magician's death, the film deals very ambiguously, and I tend to lean in on Stan to deliberately poison the magician. Psychoanalyst The Mouth is almost certain, but it is not 100% clear whether she is lying. Circus owner Clem, William Dafoe, profit-seeking and controlling leader. The boss has his wisdom in the city, observing people, inciting people, controlling people. So it was difficult for those who remained with him to escape. He always found the weaknesses of others and gave them charity, making everyone dependent on him, or rather on this circus. And Stan learned these means, and after learning the skill, he chose to stand on his own, which is also a betrayal. We don't know much about Stan's father, but we do know that Stan hated him and killed him in a cruel way. The father killer. Three elders, one killed by Stan, one killed ambiguously, and one abandoned, are all acts of father killing in a macro sense. The analysis of the psychoanalysts who hinted at the subsequent appearance was correct. Three ladies. When the fortune teller Xena Stan appeared, Xena Flip opened the whole card symbolizing destiny. The reverse star, I don't know much about tarot cards, which I interpret as a secret love affair, so there will be a move by Xena to seduce Stan later. For Stan, Xena is the first temptation to taste danger, and the fortune teller makes Stan understand fate, but also makes him misunderstand fate. This is the first woman Stan has come into contact with, and it is also the beginning of danger. But danger always comes with a turnaround, at the last time Stan is divined, before the last card is drawn. The fortune tells Stan that the fate of the cards drawn is set, and he still has a choice. But Stan insisted on going his own way, and even changed the positive position of the tarot upside down to the reverse position. Friends who are familiar with tarot cards must know that the meaning of inversion is probably that the time has not come, there is no vision, there is no need to sacrifice, introspection, and obedience. Stan then manually adjusts the reverse position to the right position, but fate is not in his hands. Current girl Molly Rooney Mara's. The current girl seen for the first time in the circus symbolizes the first bloom and change of love. She always felt a little bit of conservatism in being held hostage. I felt that maybe this was the change in love in Stan's eyes, and in 2 years, from that love to contentment and complaining. Even secretly derailed. So the girl symbolizes the change of love and finally plays the undead, which also has a pun. Psychoanalyst Lilith, Kate Blanchett. Controllable lamb, the first time to meet the same kind. The great demon king, the aura is too strong. I would think that the great demon king himself is full of mystery, and because of this mystery and motivation, it is fascinating to the audience and to Stan. She is like an unknown, attracting people to come closer and find out. At the same time, her unknown cleverly weaves a camouflage that Stan can pierce, making him mistakenly think that she is a controllable lamb, a kind of lust. The great demon king has a symbolic meaning of fate. Alcohol and weirdos. Alcohol is a kind of dependence, and the reason Stan has always emphasized that he does not drink alcohol is also the reason he thinks from his heart that his success along the way has never relied on anyone, which makes him feel proud. Of course, it can also be interpreted as related to his father, and then reinforced in the death of the magician and the fate of the strange man. Wine is a form of dependence, but it also symbolizes danger. Finally, when Stan relaxes and starts drinking, the incident begins to slip out of control and the danger signals begin to intrude. The freak is a compromise after the self collapses and gives up. Before becoming a freak and bowing to fate, everyone had a wonderful and brilliant madness. When the strange people debuted, they were in the shouts of the circus owners, which made people think. Where did he come from, a man or a beast? There are hardly good people in film noir, and the same is true of Jade-Faced Demon. Everyone is just a liar in the end. The story focuses on Stan's single point of view. As for the reasons behind other people's choices, Stan is like you and me. It doesn't matter, to be precise. Like you and me, he doesn't know at all. He thought he could guess what everyone was thinking in their hearts, and he forgot it was just a deception. As a result of the magician had long been a slur. He mistakenly thought that the power that those deceptions had brought him was real. At the end of the day, he couldn't see through anyone, he was just a liar, a storyteller. When the circus owner tells Stan the story of the dead baby, Stan is obsessed. It is speculated that Stan was born and killed his mother, which then caused his father to drink heavily and treat him badly. Notice that the third eye on his forehead, and the blindfold that covers his eyes when Stan is doing the channeling, is almost a deformation of the same element. In this baby, Stan sees himself, which is why Stan says, "I was born a freak." Finally, to say something about the cause of liver fibrillation, when Stan says "I was born to be a jerk," at that moment he accepted fate's mockery and ridicule of him.